All right. I'm Ann Simmons. I'm the store manager at Gus Meyer at the Summit.
I'm Matt Hooper. I'm the communications director with the American Heart Association.
So nice to meet you.
It's good to meet you as well. What we do at the Heart Association, we're kind of sitting on what we do at the Heart Association. We raise awareness of heart disease, cardiovascular disease, and stroke. Right now, we are in a time of the year where the Heart Association is working nationwide to raise that awareness and also to spread a message of prevention, as in many cases heart disease is preventable. We're sitting on the famous red couch of followthatcouch.com fame. We're taking this all around town throughout the year to help raise awareness of heart disease and get a conversation started with people who have been affected by heart disease in some way. And that's part of what I really enjoy about what I do is interacting with people. And I'm sure that as a store manager, you probably enjoy the same aspect of your job.
I do. Well, our worlds are crossing over into each other's paths. Someone from your organization contacted me this week to participate in your 3rd annual Little Red Dress Party. And Gus Meyer is donating a gift card and a wardrobe consultation, as well as a makeover in our cosmetic department. And Gus Meyer does a lot of that. We reach out into the community. We try to support different organizations, giving back to our customers, because we think it's important to support the community and all the people that are, that live there, of course. And of course, heart disease is one of the key things that affect all of us. Matter of fact, it affected me. My father passed away 24 years ago from heart disease. Unfortunately, the technology was not what it is today. So, of course, he died very young, about 57, 58 years old. So, that's a very important organization as far as I'm concerned, that hopefully other people's lives will be saved as a result of your fundraising and your research. But yes, Gus Meyer, it's a locally family-owned business. It's owned by the Pizitz family, and I've enjoyed working there because people are the most important part of our business, our customers, and of course our associates that work there. And I really enjoy being a part of it.
Well, we certainly appreciate Gus Meyer's support, and I appreciate you sharing that story. That's part of what this Red Couch is about. Part of what that campaign is about is getting that conversation started and having people open up and say, I've been affected in some way by heart disease, whether it's themselves that have been affected or somebody close to them. And you spent a little time in New York. Tell me a little bit about maybe the difference in culture in what you do there as opposed to what you do here.
Okay, well, I went to New York back in the early 80s. I was a college student. I was doing my internship. It was supposed to be 10 weeks of my life, but somehow I had convinced them to pay me for my internship.
Well done. That doesn't happen often.
So they already had me on the payroll, and then when I started telling them that it was time for me to go soon, they were like, "Oh no, we want you to stay." I said, "No, it's a little, I have to go back and finish my last 3 courses at Auburn University, and I'd rather go back and just graduate with my class." And I no, we want you to stay. And so then I had to say to them, "Well, it's a little more complicated than that." I said, "I need to go back because I have a 3-year-old child that's waiting on me." My daughter had been staying with my parents while I was doing the 10-week internship, and so at the time they were very insistent. They said, "We'll pay for your schooling, and we want you to stay. So talk to your family and see if you can work that out." And so, to make a long story short, we figured it out, and it ended up being 20 years of my life.
That is impressive. I am shocked that somebody would offer to pay for your school. You must have done a fantastic job.
Well, I think I did. I put it this way, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed my work, and I'm always looking for a challenge, and I think that crosses over into every job I've ever had, is that might be a good thing, or it might not be such a good thing, because I'm not always satisfied with the norm. I'm always looking to what can I do to improve it, and I'm always enthusiastic about any kind of challenge that comes my way, and so it makes it exciting. And I think they saw that in me. They saw some potential, and I was thrilled that they gave me that opportunity, because it became so incredible that my career was absolutely a blessing.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because we're a lot alike, I think, in that way. You're always looking for what the new horizon is going to be and what the new challenge is going to be. I've been with the Heart Association for about 1.5 years, and up until that point, I had bounced around a number of different jobs, mainly in communications and in athletic communications. Working in athletic communications is hard because most of the time that people have downtime, like weekends and evenings and holidays, that's when athletic events are going on. So that's when we were working.
Right.
And if you're not really extraordinarily passionate and committed to what you're doing, really in any walk of life, but especially in athletics, that you can really get burned out very easily. And I went through that a couple of times. And I would hear people say things like, oh, every day I wake up, I love my job, and I just can't wait to get to work and do my job. And I thought, that's garbage. There's no way that you can love a job that much. But when I was going through the process of being interviewed by the Heart Association, admittedly, when I first started, I knew of the Heart Association. I knew that they were a very important organization. I really had no conception of how big the organization is from the perspective of how many things they touch just in everyday life, from public advocacy to research and development, to medications that have been created based on research, to just offering people a chance to connect with survivors and people who are in similar situations with regard to cardiovascular health. And as I got deeper into that interview process, I began to realize, oh my goodness, this could be one of those jobs. This could be that place where your passion that you have just within you can collide with your living, your career, and it has, because I'm very passionate about promoting health and getting people to make healthy lifestyle changes, and that's what I do now. Practically throughout the day, is I put people in positions to make those decisions and give them the information that they need to make those decisions. And every day is a challenge. Every day is something new. There's always something that we can be doing as an organization better than what we're doing today. So I see that same kind of drive. But so you came back to Birmingham, and I'm curious. You spent this time in New York. It's the grand city of the world. What brought you back here?
Well, our daughter at the time was a senior at Auburn University, and we had two sons that were younger, of course, and I had for about 3 or 4 years been begging my husband, let's go back south. I want my boys to be Southern gentlemen. And I knew if we stayed in New York and they were on Long Island, they were not going to be Southern gentlemen.
Probably not going to get a lot of Southern gentlemen on Long Island. Not to cast aspersions upon Long Island, but probably not a lot of Southern gentlemen there.
That's right. So, of course, I'm from the South. I grew up in West Alabama on a Black Angus cattle farm. And, I wanted them to experience some of the way I grew up, as well as, of course, learn to mind their manners and be Southern gentlemen. So we decided that we would move back to Alabama. They were one son was going into the 7th grade, and the other one was going into about the 2nd grade. So we thought that was perfect timing. We'd get back south, closer to the family and our friends. And it's just been the best thing. We've been here for 10 years now. We moved back in 2003, so it's been wonderful, and my wish came true. My boys are definitely Southern.
They are Southern gentlemen. It's amazing that in 10 years' time, I was born in Birmingham, and my father is a Methodist minister. So we moved all over the state. Back in the earlier days, the Methodist Conference would move you around rather frequently. So usually every 2 years or so, we would find ourselves in a different location. You really didn't have a say as to where you were going to go. Right. We would end up in towns, really, really small towns, like Belgreen, Alabama, which is up in the northwest corner, about 45 minutes south of Florence. And there's nothing there. There's like a general store, the church, and the parsonage that we lived in, and that was it. And when I got to Birmingham, which was probably 95, 96, this city, I won't say that it was dead, but it was kind of on life support, I feel. There was not, you really couldn't feel the creativity pulsing through the city the way that you can now. And really, I think within the past 10 years, from about 2003 until now, to see how far we've come as a city is really incredible. And I think that for people like us, who are constantly looking for challenges and kind of craving that interaction with creative people, and just interesting people in general. I think that Birmingham is one of those cities now where you can do that daily, whereas you might not have been able to do that a decade or so ago. So I think that we're both in the right place
Definitely.
in that regard.
Yes, I love Alabama, I love Birmingham, and yes, I can see the differences as well, and I'm so happy to see the resurgence in the downtown area. And when I moved back here, of course, the first thing I did was try to see the lay of the land. And even though we live in Chelsea, I would make my way downtown and look at all the old buildings. It's very fascinating. But I love the urban side of it, as well as being out a little bit on the rural side of it for my children to be able to run around. But yes, working for a locally owned business, and working with the Pizitz family, it gives me great pride to be a part of that organization, and therefore I feel like I'm a part of Birmingham if I'm working for a local business. So yeah, we have the same passions as far as loving Birmingham. Yeah, Gusmeyer, we feel like we have our own little culture, whether it be within or without. We have our clientele that comes in and we enjoy them, and then we have our own little world in-house with all of our associates, with all the different personalities, and that's what makes it special. So it really is about people.
Well, good deal. We'll have to come in and update our wardrobe.
Definitely.
It has been a pleasure
Nice to meet
to talk with you.